Hello everybody, Kevin here from Dirt Diva Diaries, and I promised you a video. Actually, I didn't promise you a video. Ivy promised you a video, but it falls on me. So thanks, Ivy. I needed this in my schedule, actually. I love doing these. But this spring we have been incredibly behind, and I'm going to be showing you some messes. So if you think you're about to see this pristine garden that is absolutely perfect and that type of thing, what you're going to see is reality. You're going to see two people who are dedicated to gardening who get behind just like you do and have to recover. A lot of good reasons for it. For us, life happened. This is May 20th, I believe, that I'm recording this. We are behind because Ivy basically lost April. She had a health problem involving kidney stones. Now, Ivy doesn't do anything halfway. You may have figured that out reading her stuff, but she didn't do kidney stones halfway either. Kidney stones for Ivy involved 3 emergency room visits, not 1 surgery, but 2 surgeries. It included a blood infection, 4 days in the hospital after one of the surgeries. That should have been a go home when you're done type of surgery. And then 2 weeks in a recliner, almost unable to move because they had to leave stents in her, which just hurt every time she wiggled. So she was basically out for a month. I was taking care of her, and April's kind of garden prep time, so we got really behind. So welcome to the Dirt Diva Diaries mess. I don't know if you've read Feathers v. Foam, but you're about to meet the gnomes that are so famous. Just right off the porch, these are retired characters, retired garden art. It's done. These over here are actually going up. These windows, this thing down there, there's a piece over here. Actually, there's some cattails here that go on. These are going up on our wall over here. I can put those up anytime. I'm the guy with the screw gun. I don't do the design of artwork. That's Ivy's department. So until she tells me where to put them, they're going to sit there. This little guy will go up with them. He's kind of fun. We go to a big swap meet every year at a place called Packwood. It's one of these, 40-acre type of things where there's just hundreds of booths. And there's a couple there in retirement that makes these arts. You're going to see a couple things. Actually, they actually made this over here too, this utensil holder that we use for our barbecue tools. But every time we go, we find something at their booth. If we don't buy anything else the entire day, we buy something from them because that's just fun. So again, mess obviously everywhere, but that's okay. We're in several different projects. Just stuff on the table. Some of this is just stuff that hasn't found a home yet out in the yard. These ants will definitely go out. This little glass thing. This is actually new this year because it came out of my mother's home when she passed away last October. So that's going to go up somewhere here. So I'm going to go here to my right, and let's see where we go here. This was a bench, I think. Each one of those cubbies was a drawer. We bought it at a thrift store for $20. We had a plan for it that never came to fruition, and so I turned it into a planter, and that entire planter is filled with begonias. So give us another month, you'll get some pictures of it in a newsletter. I found the legs at the thrift store as well. I think we're into this about $20 plus some paint. We keep the paint on hand that matches our house. So we were able to, make it match there. Got a coleus up there. This side of the back porch gets no sun at all. So we plant a shade plant. That side over there does get sun, so that's a different plant because I can't put the same in both. Ivy does love her flowers. We don't talk about flowers a lot on Dirt Diva Diaries. We talk about food. We might get to flowers a year or two from now, but for right now, we're really just food. This is a new project here. You'll see this rock coming out. The edging on our lawn looked good in theory at Costco when we bought it. It doesn't work with the rock next to it because if you step in the rock, it slides under. You can see that pushing up. So I need to pull that rock out, and I'm going to do an edge on the inside of the lawn edging with pave edge. Pave edge is rigid, it's staked in, it won't lift up. I've tested this theory over there. It does work. So I'm going to pull this out, fix that edge, and then I'm going to use these type of pavers and put them between the pots so there's a stepping spot between the thing into the lawn. When we bought the house, this was dirt. Mud, actually. It was just mud. It was a new construction. We opted not to have them do their contractor landscaping, which was basically going to be nothing but grass and a sprinkler system. This patio here just went in 2 weeks ago, I think, before we just had rock here around the hot tub. So I just finished that. But with Ivy being out of commission, I actually have had 2 hand surgeries on my main hand, and I have 3 more coming. So pavers is a challenge. It kind of takes me out of commission quite a while. And many of you know I also write books, not just our gardening books. I write fiction books, and having a bad hand is bad in a lot of ways. Okay, again, I don't know if you've read Feathers v. Foam, you should. It's kind of a fun story. There's a talk about the dragon who guards the raised bed. Here you go. This is the dragon, guarding the raised beds, keeping out the evil invaders, the bugs and such. Not doing such a good job with the ants, but that's okay. This is our small raised bed. This one has been here a couple years. Last year, this was 100% garlic. I had to rotate out. So this is now a mixed bed. We've got snow peas in the back. You can see some carrots popping up there. Romaine lettuce here. I threw in a couple onions on that side because I had some extra space. And then some other lettuce here. These are radishes, and that is replanted radishes that haven't popped up yet. We eat a lot of radishes, so we plant in succession. Those have been eaten. These are, actually, I've been picking out of those. They're being eaten now and such. I had a little strip around here, and I couldn't ignore it, so I dropped onions in. I tend to do plant intensively. I put a lot of stuff in the ground. Couldn't waste that spot. I put that in. Now here's a mess for you. Here's our new raised bed. It's pretty impressive, isn't it? This was a deck that wasn't working for us. We put it here for a swing. It gets all sun. And to come out here in the afternoon, which is when we would most likely be out here, we would have Yakima sun, 105 degrees some days, blasted in our face. Wasn't going to happen. It's become a raised bed. I cut the deck out, filled it with dirt. I'm coming up probably 3 feet, so this is just basically fill, but it's basically amazing fill because this has been composting for 1.5 years, just been throwing stuff in it. It's full of eggshells and coffee and dirt and just everything. So that back there, and I'm having a hard time seeing it with the glare, but that's usually the bean bed, the green beans. We put the green beans on. I string it down from the pole, and it basically, I call it our green bean Christmas tree, because when it's done, it's just this big green tower. It looks like a tree. But again, I needed to rotate, so couldn't put my garlic back here. I could put it over there. It's not enough garlic for us. We have more planted elsewhere, but it was a good use of that bed for rotation, and garlic's looking pretty happy, actually. Over here, we have our grapes. This is 2 grapevines. I put those posts in 2 years ago, I believe. We planted the grapes. We bought pretty mature grapes, so they're doing well. They made a lot of grapes last year, a lot more than we were expecting. Some extra strawberries. Now, these strawberry bags, get a little closer. I really didn't buy these because we needed more strawberries, and you'll see that in a bit. I bought these to experiment with them. A lot of you don't have space for some things, and going vertical like this, these did very well. This one actually wintered, hanging up with the plants. The plants all came back, and we're pretty cold in Yakima. We get below 0 quite a bit. Oh, I should mention this mess. That's not really a mess. That's part of the dirt for the bed, and all that wood back there, stuff I've been collecting, various pieces, that will all get incorporated into this raised bed. I'm hoping to get to that this weekend. We'll see. Bad hand, I have a bad knee, I got a lot of stuff. Oh, I got to show you this one. How's this? Pretty awesome, huh? Look at that. Certified gardener, professional nursery person, killing plants left and right. You want to be on? I'll be honest here. This is sometimes how you find where your drip watering isn't working. You think it's working, you check it. Grain of sand gets in your water system, you end up with a planter not getting water. That's just life sometimes. This fountain, the famous fountain from Feathers v. Foam, the background to that war that took place here, the battle, our little pond. We built this a couple years ago. The bridge there, we actually got married on that bridge in a fairy garden that we built for our wedding. Spent 3 days building that for our 1-hour wedding and then tore it down. But it was pretty awesome. But we love this sound. Here's our little pond back here. You'll see our gnome collection. That piece of wood, that's going somewhere. That's not necessarily its home. I set it there. It's actually extra pieces off my trellises over here that we'll get to in a second, but we're going somewhere with it. And this bridge is actually on the slate to get rebuilt. I think I'll just start over. I didn't build that one. We bought it real quick for the wedding. We want the bridge. We want what it remembers. We actually, most years, come out here on our anniversary and just do a private vow renewal. So then we get into the rest of the yard. And again, we built this whole yard. It has evolved. It's still evolving. This was most of our garden area. I do have a strip over here, I forgot. Under here in front of the grapes where I used to plant onions, but it needs a break. It's been too many years of onions, so I'm rotating out. Oh, look, I have a down sunflower. Down there on the ground, that's actually from the same metal guy that makes the stuff that's on the porch. So Ivy hasn't seen that yet, or I would have been told about it. So a lot of you have small yards. Some of you probably have acres. For those of you with small yards, this strip back here where you see all these trellises, that was a test. That strip is 18 inches of rock that I put around the yard just to border it and drainage, that type of thing. And then last year actually was when I did this. We decided to see how much food we could grow in 18 inches, that strip. And the result almost got us divorced. I'm kidding, of course, but I did get threatened that if I brought any more tomatoes in the house, that they would be the last tomatoes I ever picked. So, there is that. We've got these tall things back here. These need to be cut. Those are onions, ornamental onions, but they come up at the beginning of the season, and they're just a magnificent greeting to spring. It's just, they're big, they're fun, they're vibrant. They're when they're in bloom, they're bright purple. Now they basically need cut back to nothing. A dianthus plant here in all its glory. Look at all those buds that haven't popped yet. That's just a beautiful season. These wine barrels tend to get rotated. This tomatillos, I have this thing for tomatillo salsa, my own recipe. I will give it to you. I do share my recipes. I do a lot of cooking. Ivy's in charge of spaghetti sauce and the tomato products for the most part, although I have the lazy way to make the sauce. But she does all that stuff. But the tomatillo salsa is me. She doesn't eat it. I can't make enough. I fill as much of the freezer with it as I can. And yeah. So strawberries. Strawberry gnome. Again, if you've read Feathers v. Foam, it's called, the subtitle is The Great Blueberry War of 2025. This is that strawberry patch that is almost impossible to cover and protect from a robin. A robin. Yes, a robin. Now affectionately known as Robbie. He wasn't affectionately known as that last year. His name last year, I wouldn't say in a video. Let's just say that. So back here in our things, we have 6 of these trellis structures. I haven't wired them this year yet. I have to wire them each year, but obviously it's going to be a while before I have anything growing up them. Under the middle of each, I have a tomato plant. There I have a random tomato cage sitting in the middle of the yard that needs to go back on one of these. And I have some more tomato cages on the patio that I need to build. I really like these tomato cages. They come from Amazon. I find them very sturdy. This one's 2 years old. It's just, I really like them. They're light, but they're very strong. They don't show any wear. The box on the porch is purple, so we'll have purple and green ones. I'll alternate them. So, but again, these tomatoes last year went insane, and I made a mistake. I thought I was buying a determinate tomato, and if you don't know what that means, determinate tomatoes grow a certain height and stop. They put on a big crop of fruit, and they're done. Indeterminate tomatoes grow. They don't stop growing until they die. They just grow. And they don't stop fruiting until they die. So I thought I was going to get these nice little 4-foot tomato plants. When they started going over the fence, I hacked them back to underneath. 2 weeks later, they were flirting with the fence again. They went nuts. When I pulled those tomato plants out in October, when the cold weather was coming, they're still pushing fruit. And that's why Ivy told me no more tomatoes. We process all our tomatoes into sauce, whether spaghetti sauce or plain sauce. It's a combination, but literally for over a month, our house smelled like tomato soup, and it got to be a lot. So, but here's the strawberry field where the war of 2025 started. Our lupin plant just waking up back there with the gnomes. That will put on about 10 of those tall spires at the same time soon. It's pretty fun. Here's our first blueberry plant. This one actually is new this year. I had a bad one, one that really looked bad this year when it woke up right here. It is actually coming back, and so I'm going to keep it in this pot this year and see what it does. I can control its soil pH really well here, and I think it's going to come back. There's a lot of green wood, so we might it'll find a home next year, but it's fine in the pot for the year. So that one there. Again, these now I got to tell you, these strawberries started here. I only planted 50 strawberries here in this section. This entire path of strawberries now was runners. And I have killed probably 200 plants a year, 100 plants a year. I don't know exactly how many I kill, but it's like strawberry plant genocide around here in the fall, pulling back the runners because they absolutely go nuts. Another tomatillo, that's an extra one this year because 2 of them gave me hundreds of tomatillos. I want more. I like my salsa. George the giraffe, he watches over it. The big ant here. Again, you'll see gnomes everywhere. This is so you know I'm a certified nursery professional. I ran a garden center, one of the top 100 garden centers in the country for 6-7 years. I started in 2008 there, right when the economy crashed and we had that big recession. The stock market crashed so much you had stockbrokers jumping out of windows. It was a pretty bad thing at the time. And the term staycation was formed. And I took that, and I'm brand new in the business, brand new there at that operation with all the responsibility to sell stuff. So I went whimsical. And my logic was, people are going to want to go home and smile. They're going to want to have fun. And they're not going to want formal English gardens when they're coming home from a stressful day, when they're worried about their retirement accounts. They're going to want to smile. And my employees did not like this. They were much different gardeners than I am. And they wanted formal. They wanted, classic yard art and stuff. I went gnomes. I sold a lot of gnomes, let me tell you. People responded, and I think they still do. We come out into our backyard, and this was the entire purpose of our tagline, which is grow your own way. This is your yard. It's your sanctuary. Sanctuary is big into all of our business projects. It's all about sanctuary. It's all about making a space, whether it's your garden beds, your flowers, your fountain. It's your sanctuary. Build what you want to build. Grow your own way. I don't care what people think if they come over and say, oh my God, your gnomes are tacky. No, they're not. They make me smile. They make us have fun. They let us enjoy our yard. You can see our butterflies and our stuff. And these butterflies, they don't last too long. They last about 2 years in the sun. But this one got to be 4 years old now, because it was over there before the grapes were in. And that one, so all these, our yard art like this comes in during the winter, and Ivy repaints it. And so it's our winter project, and she has a lot of fun doing that. She'll turn on a couple of movies, big into Hallmark movies, I will say, and she points the TV where she's working, and she paints our yard art. So we get a lot of years out of it, and it's fun. I can tell you without any question, this guy got repainted this last year. I can tell by how bright the hat is. This one did not. This one needs repainted. The carrot one here, definitely a repaint. So let's see, our clematises. This clematis died once, was replaced last year. That's why it's not keeping up with that one. These put on a magnificent show. They're just a lot of fun as a flower. I like the drama. I like the height. We like to, we like our garden to speak. Another tomatillo. These things go nuts here. I cheat. I give them everything they could want because I want the tomatillos. This is the bush that Robbie and I fought over last year. It's doing pretty well with its blueberry crop this year. I think this might be bigger than last year. This bush needs pruned. It hasn't been pruned yet. I don't prune a new bush until it's a couple years old. I like to let it do its thing for a while. This fall, I will prune out some of the old growth and start to work on shape. But for right now, I'm just letting it do its thing. It's giving me berries. Pretty happy guy. Another George the giraffe. I recently, actually about an hour ago, I did a video tour of my writing office where I write my fiction, and that was for my my email list of fiction fans. And I have a lot of George the giraffes in my office too. It's quite funny when I think about it. This is an Ito peony. It's actually falling, it's losing its blooms, but let's get back here to one. These are pretty magnificent flowers. You can see that's not a small flower. That's got to be, 7 inches maybe. You can see where they were previously. You can see the blooms, and here's one here that hasn't even opened yet. So this is, Ito peonies don't need support. It's a cross between a tree peony and a bush peony. And so these big flowers don't fall over. I'll show you one over there that does fall over. This is a raspberry. This is new this year. Ivy can't get enough raspberries. So we don't want a bramble. Raspberries, they spread. They're big arching things. They do fine in containers. I'll get about 2 to 3 years out of this in this size container. That's a Costco pot, $20. Costco blueberry or raspberry, actually, I believe too. In 3 years or so, maybe 2, I'll pull the plant out, I'll cut it in half, and I'll put it back in, just half of it. And I'll just keep doing that because it'll keep going and it won't outgrow the pot that way. The half that I get rid of, that'll go to friends, go to somebody who needs it. Oh, look, another George the giraffe on my shred. Here's another raspberry plant. Same thing, just, we have the 2 here. Another one of our grapes. So we have the grape here. We have 2 more over there. These are table grapes. We eat them fresh. Ivy makes jelly actually, with grapes. And then we make a ton of raisins. Ivy has this thing where she feels like she has to make 4,000 cookies at Christmas time. And a lot of them use raisins. So we use our own raisins. They're actually really good raisins. I'd never had a fresh raisin, like, what a homemade raisin before we grew these. I've never even grown grapes before. This was our first attempt with grapes. We didn't do grapes in Idaho where the garden center was because you couldn't bring many into the state because of the agricultural restrictions. But here in Washington, I can have grapes. So, and look at those. That's just they're just covered with grapes. I am going to have to thin them wildly when I get to that stage. I'm not quite there yet, but we will have to do that. This blew over 2 weeks ago. This wooden structure behind it, I just built last weekend to get them off the ground. They had flipped over completely. So it's a little awkward right now. I didn't want to prune it and do anything much to it. So I'm just going to let it be up here. It's secure. We get a lot of wind here at the end of season. When I prune it, I'll start shaping it again and add some stuff. I'm going to bring it out over and make a little canopy here with it so it's out so I can put the grapes from down below. This poor peony, these two here that actually, they got a little smashed when the grapevine fell, but you can see what happens with a regular peony. You need a support. You need something to hold up the flowers, and this doesn't have it. So this is a honeysuckle. It is here to go up this post that I put in a few years ago and to cover this blank spot here behind our barbecue. I'll show you from this side. Mostly because this is west. We're looking west right now, and so the sun, when I want to barbecue in late afternoon, the sun is just blazing right here. So rather than put up fabric or something, we planted this honeysuckle, and I'll show you something about it. Again, people think everything we do is perfect. This is so not true. These leaves, that's aphid damage. This honeysuckle is an aphid magnet, and this poor plant got absolutely infested with aphids. So no aphids now. You'd see them. Those are little aphid bodies, actually. That's kind of funny. Still on there. So aphids means neem oil immediately. First I hosed it, got as many as I could off of it. The really bad leaves at the time I pulled off, but I left some because all this new growth wasn't here yet. I left some so there was something to do some photosynthesis, because you don't want to pull off in the middle of spring every leaf off a plant when it's in growth season, because it doesn't have anything to capture the sun energy. So I left some, and it's coming back beautifully. This is all new growth. All these fresh leaves are new. Oh, we got a little flower in there. So that's nice. This is a third raspberry plant. Oh, look, there's some extra onions that I had. I needed more onion space, so I dropped them right in here. These poor onions. So this is kind of funny, actually. These are last year's green onions. Pot never came in. They sat here buried in snow, never died. They were green all season. I'm sure they're not really edible. They're going into flower now, but I mean, I can't just kill them because they did so much. This little planter here, this is a log cart. This is what they used to push the metal frame. They'd take it out into the woods, cut down their firewood, stack it in here, and they would haul it out on these log carts. We picked this up at a swap meet for, I think, $20. And these planters, I made one day. That's actually an old bed that we picked up from the parking lot at the Habitat store for $25. I have about half of the wood left. So this was just one small project. We put some strawberries down at the bottom and flowers at the top. That's our kitchen or our dining room window there, so we can see this thing. And then we have our little gnome display at the top. These are the Tozy gnomes. They sit here, and then I use this, which is just an old cupboard door. I burned it with a blowtorch to give it that look, covered it with tung oil, and that's sort of a little barbecue. My barbecue's here, little barbecue support table now. I can put, different things or sauces there while I'm cooking. I have the sides as well, so plenty of stuff there. This is a blackberry plant. This is in quarantine. You notice how it's not out. Normally it would sit over here on the edge of the patio. Put this patio in 3 years ago, actually. This is in quarantine, and I'll show you why. I think this is going to show up. You see the color on the leaves, the mottling, and it's not like here you have a nice leaf. Color's perfect. It's beautiful. Here you don't. Spider mites. So spider mites got this one. This has been neem oiled. You don't use neem oil in the sun ever. It will burn your things. So whenever you can, if you have to use it on a plant in the sun, late at night, early morning, do it when it's cool because it needs to dry before that full heat comes out. So this isn't a big deal. Spider mite should be dead. Oh, look, we have one here. Don't think it's alive. I don't know if you can see this. That little white dot, spider mite. Pretty sure that's dead because this should be. This got very covered in neem oil and has been soaked or blown off twice with the hose. So it should be taken care of. So anyway, there you have it. That is the Dirt Diva Diaries garden. I am going to make an announcement now. Are you ready? Ivy's going live. I know you've never seen Ivy. There was a reason for that, and we'll explain that at another time, another video or post or newsletter. But Ivy is going to go live probably in August, maybe July. We'll see how far we get. And Ivy will start doing videos and start being more of a visual presence and not just a sassy presence, I should say. Oh, you didn't see it. There's a bird. That's Robbie. Robbie is world famous now because of the Feathers v Foam. I should have known Robbie would show up for his moment in the camera. If you haven't read Feathers v Foam, it's fun. I'll put a link, probably just in the newsletter and probably down here in the description of the video as well. So anyway, Kevin, Dirt Diva Diaries, signing off. And remember, grow your own way.